All right, my name is Mark Dahlmeyer. I will be hosting today's webinar on driving greater employee and customer engagement. This is brought to you by Exceptional. We are a top Cisco partner in San Diego, California. So let's set the conversation up. Employee and customer engagement is critical to the ongoing success of every business. Disengaged employees actually cost the US economy around $550 billion a year. Yet, recent research from Achievers Workforce Institute shows that only 21% of employees view themselves as quote unquote very engaged in the workforce. Now, according to Gallup, employee engagement overall is around 36%. So here's the reality that we've all just gone through over the last 12 to 14 months. During the pandemic, a lot of organizations went from in-office setups to 100% remote, back to hybrid arrangements, and this has dramatically impacted culture, communication, employee engagement, and not only employee engagement and employee workflow, but also these organizations have had to shift and pivot and change how they engaged, serviced, and supported customers. So in today's session, we're going to discuss how to drive greater employee and customer engagement through new communication, collaboration, and support methods, as well as technologies. Now, some recent research from Global Workplace Analytics projects that 25 to 30% of the workforce will be working from home multiple days a week by the end of 2021, more than likely going forward. So again, shifting, pivoting, and changing the way that you're engaging employees and the way that those employees are engaging customers and supporting customers is critical. If you take a look at some of the research from McKinsey, they've published 5 priorities for executives in the quote unquote next normal, which is what we're operating within today. The first thing that they're communicating and suggesting is that organizations create a strategy around sustainability. And again, this is not just ecological sustainability, right, for large global organizations, but operational sustainability. They're also suggesting transform your business through the use of cloud technologies. Rethink how you're cultivating talent and developing talent and recruiting and retaining talent. And then press the need for speed. So focus on agility, resiliency within your organization and build up that muscle memory within your organization to help respond to market demands and market dynamics, just like we all had to do in 2020 and 2021 with the pandemic. And then in close, they're suggesting operate with purpose. So just in summary, the key takeaways from this report, and we've got a link to the report within the slide presentation that we'll share. Organize your business and your operating model for sustainability. Make sure that your new operating model, whether it's business operations, sales, marketing, service delivery, IT operating models, can enable the team to make rapid changes and escalate and pivot the business or their workflow or their work teams as needed. So this is about becoming a more agile, responsive organization. Deploy a new IT and operating model that exploits the cloud for speed and agility and efficient scalability or cost-effective scalability. A lot of organizations are trying to figure out how to leverage the cloud for bursting their business, scaling their business, or even consolidating and contracting their business. McKinsey recommends that you hire talent and build skills and build your team structures that live and behave the core values and the mission of the organization. And that goes back down to number 5. So we'll come back and talk a little bit about that. But the other thing that they're recommending here is look for talent who is open to change, who has the core behavior, the mindset that is open for change, and they're not rigid, but they're fluid. and pliable. In terms of pressing the need for speed, McKinsey is saying focus on building internal muscle memory around the right way to perform hybrid work. So take a look at your work stream, how you're communicating, how you're engaging, managing, and leading your organization today, and then analyze that and review that and determine the best way to drive productivity out of hybrid workforces and teams. And you can take a look at the report. They actually offer a fantastic a couple of examples of different operating models and hierarchies in terms of establishing cross silo or cross matrix teams to really deploy and effectively manage through that hybrid work. And then lastly, they're saying, based upon their analysis and their review of organizations that successfully navigated, and not only navigated and survived and lived through the pandemic, but actually thrived and grew through the pandemic, what they're saying is that those organizations doubled down and refocused on creating, communicating, and reinforcing the organization's core purpose, their vision, their mission, and they aligned employee activities and the strategies of the company back to supporting the vision and the mission of the organization at hand. So this is fantastic advice and feedback from McKinsey in terms of how to get ahead of driving greater employee and customer engagement. Now, in terms of driving customer engagement specifically, there was a lot of research done on this by McKinsey and Accenture and others over the last 12 to 18 months. But here are some key recommendations that they made in terms of connecting with customers in a time of crisis or in a time of change. So number one, their key suggestion, which many organizations did, I know we at Exceptional did, minimize the risk, your customer's risk, by reducing physical interaction. Well, in order to do that, you need collaboration tools, you need greater communication tools, you need video presentation, video meeting tools, and you need to tool up and train your organization on how to effectively leverage those tools and those methods. They suggest actively contribute to safety by innovating or changing your product and service portfolio. So think through how your buyers are buying and what your buyers and customers are buying, and then think about additional or adjacent products and services that you can offer and how to deliver those new or adjacent products and services into the marketplace to better serve your customers. Provide pragmatic help or options to organizations or customers that might be in financial distress. So we do that at Exceptional. We actually have a number of different procurement and buying or financing options for our customers that we've instituted and we've been implementing for years. But this is a fantastic set of recommendations initially by McKinsey to really pull the market to you and to better serve the market. I think this is a critical point. Bring joy and support the emotional needs of customers by driving positive messaging and positioning into the marketplace. This is key. I think with the massive amount of data breaches, of cyber attacks, of the potential war, conflicts internationally, I think it's really easy for vendors and suppliers to get wrapped up into geopolitical dynamics as well as against cyber risks and threats and over communicate the negative. But again, in times of crisis, we need to focus on the positive, to pull the market to us and to better serve the customers that we have. We should be actively shifting customers to online channels, online chats, online communication, and then figure out new innovative ways to survey the market, to capture the voice of the customer and better understand what the customer's needs are and how they want to be supported during this next normal. Stay reachable and approachable, and of course, treat every customer with care if you can in every interaction. So one of the things that we do at Exceptional is we have a smile back mechanism when we're dealing with customer support. So we give the customer the opportunity to give us a smiley face, kind of a mediocre face, or a frowny face, and that helps us to understand if we exceeded customer expectation around every one of these interactions. And then lastly, demonstrate care for the community in your market, in your ecosystem, by continuing to communicate and promote and live the core values of the organization. Again, fantastic feedback and input by McKinsey. There's some very interesting business issues, IT priorities, and IT challenges that a lot of small to medium-sized businesses face. And this was captured by TechIsle in a 2021 research report. But the majority of small and medium-sized businesses are focused on, of course, increasing business growth, increasing profitability, developing some type of IT outsourcing strategy, and then improving workforce productivity. And again, it's one of the reasons why we're focused on driving greater employee engagement. Their top IT priorities were cloud, collaboration, mobility, hybrid workplace, remote workers, as well as cybersecurity solutions. So again, what you find is the validation of the market research and the trends, right? And some of the recommendations that McKinsey has been making, right? Those recommendations map and address these business issues and the top IT priorities from this other third-party research. Now, what's preventing organizations from actually executing against this and driving greater employee and customer engagement? Well, oftentimes organizations need to maintain current IT infrastructure. So they've already made significant investments in IT, and maybe those IT systems, the network, maybe their telecommunications systems, or even their business applications are no longer aligned to where the business is going and the current needs of the business. A lot of organizations are struggling with data integration, trying to integrate data from various systems into dashboards, into business intelligence, so they can actually mobilize and execute against the data that they're getting from the systems. And then a lot of organizations are trying to figure out how to modernize their IT, maybe go to the cloud, do something different or something disruptive to give them a competitive advantage. So a lot of organizations are also looking to deploy customer experience solutions and enhance that customer experience. Again, all of these things just validate some of the McKinsey recommendations and the research and the trends that we've already seen going on in the market. So here's what we at Exceptional recommend. This is an employee and a customer engagement readiness checklist. Number one, do you have a cloud strategy, and do you utilize cloud to help your business scale, to help your business grow or pivot when you need to? Do you have updated phones, IT networks, collaboration tools, or platforms to enhance your employee and customer communications, or to capture the voice of your employees and your customers so you know how and where to enhance your customer or your employee experience? 3, do your IT systems and applications, are those IT systems and applications aligned to your current business goals and objectives and the future that you're trying to create? And are they preparing you, or are you prepared to move into the next normal that we've been talking about? And do you have the technologies and the systems and the applications to get you there? And then lastly, have you revamped your IT systems and applications to support the current dynamics and changes in customer buying habits? And this is key. And as we get into the presentation today, you're going to find out that customer buying habits and buying processes have changed. So we're trying to get ahead of that and help organizations get ahead of that with new communication, new methods, new technologies, and platforms. Now, these are some common obstacles that we help organizations overcome. Number one, a lot of organizations lack resources or the expertise to develop and implement these types of plans and technologies. Technical debt. Technical debt is an industry term that's used that references old technologies. Maybe you have an antiquated phone system. Maybe you have an antiquated network, or maybe you're not leveraging any of these collaboration or web or internet-based call systems. Maybe you have a lack of funding or you don't have access to capital and you're not informed about subscription-based or utility-based pricing or financing. Some organizations have way too many competing priorities on their plate. They're really just focused on cash flow. They're focused on customers. They're focused on making sure that their employees show up to work every day. And IT is an afterthought. Like they'll get to IT later. A lot of organizations are not sure about the risk and reward. So oftentimes they lack insights into the risks associated with not doing this versus the value associated with moving forward with this type of initiative. And then lastly, a lot of organizations ask us for roadmaps. So they're trying to figure out, okay, show me where we're at today, how we begin this transition, and where are we going to end up, and when is all of this going to be completed? So these are common obstacles that we find in the marketplace when we're helping organizations to move in this direction. I'm going to pause there and say, Chris, did I leave anything out, or do you have some additional perspective and feedback that you can share? And so our special guest today on the call is Chris McEwen, who's the CEO and founder of Exceptional. But Chris, what do you think?
Well, the one thing I think that may be lurking under the surface of the last couple of slides is security, right? And the security concerns, cybersecurity concerns that come with an evolving customer and employee engagement routine or regime. And if you just think about the changes in the workspaces for both the customers and the employees, we've gone from a highly centralized, concentrated, office building, retail storefront or storefront for many customer engagement styles to a from a employee standpoint, highly distributed, right? Everybody's at home, everybody's moving out of the city into the suburbs, and then from an employee engagement, right? Just I think you're one of your slides talked about limiting risk, right, to personal or physical interactions. So when you couple those two things, you end up with a attack surface for hackers that's much bigger than it was before. And so in my mind, I think that the last few slides have done a great job of illustrating the challenges that our customers face in keeping their customers engaged, keeping their employees engaged. And what we always try to remind folks of is be mindful of the cybersecurity ramifications, because when you go from a highly centralized, office building or retail storefront or whatever, you can control the physical inputs and outputs much easier than you can when you send people home to work at home with little Johnny down the hallway who might have a PC that he games a lot with that's infected with a malware. And now you're sharing the same network as a computer that needs to be secure and has data on it that might have PHI in the healthcare world or confidential information or whatever. So I would just try to remind everybody that as you're going through this thought process, that cybersecurity undercurrents need to permeate everything you do, and the object should be more secure, not less secure, when you transition. And obviously keeping employee engagement and customer engagement at a very high level. The art to deploying cybersecurity and while keeping engagement high is not creating unnatural obstacles to accessing the data or accessing the services. So cybersecurity does need to be strong, but as much as possible underneath the customer experience or in the same work stream, easily flowing to a secure interaction. And a lot of that comes into play in the design and the implementation practices of the IT departments in these customers. So I just wanted to mention that.
That's fantastic feedback and input, Chris. Of course, couldn't agree more. And to your point, you touched on sensitive data, right? With distributed workforces leveraging BYOD or their own devices or their home devices that potentially are unencrypted or unsecured. Those devices and those systems, to your point, might now have access to sensitive customer records or customer data or business records, personal identifiable information, et cetera, which from a regulatory compliance perspective puts you at risk of failing an audit and being out of regulatory compliance. So I think you're spot on. Thank you for that perspective. So, and Chris kind of laid the groundwork here for this next slide, but this is how we typically help organizations go through this journey. So architecture, design, implementation, we can run, manage, and maintain IT systems, networks, devices, communication systems, data center infrastructure, et cetera. So we have a full portfolio of offerings, and those offerings begin with exceptional care, which is remote and on-site managed services support. So for organizations that candidly don't want to hire IT staff, or they have IT staff today, but they want those IT staff members to focus on more strategic things, and they would like a third party to basically help run and operate, we can provide 24/7 monitoring and management of desktops, networks, phones, applications, right? We can provide multiple support levels to fit your business needs or your budget. And then as part of that high level service, we provide virtual CIO services. So we can do quarterly technology reviews. We provide quarterly and ongoing reporting. Part of those reviews includes taking a look at your IT strategic plan, updating your IT strategic plan, and then looking and reviewing and making recommendations around your IT standards, maintenance, and support levels. So we can fill the gaps within organizations that candidly aren't going to hire full-time people, or they need augmentation of their existing team. We have Exceptional Connect, which is the design, deployment, and management of telepresence and video solutions, including voice, video, web-based conferencing. We provide real-time communications, monitoring, management on all of these types of devices. And then cloud, on-site, or hybrid communication solutions to address the needs of the market and the clients that we just walked through. We have Exceptional Cloud, which is strategic enterprise class data center and hosting services, IT software, services, applications, hardware, email, networking. So this is infrastructure as a service or hosting as a service. And within that portfolio, we provide a wide variety of storage solutions, backup and recovery solutions, compliance as a service solutions, and of course, infrastructure or application virtualization solutions and services. And then we have Exceptional Networks. So updating, providing networking solutions that drive technology and business operations to help your organization pivot or scale or grow. So we can provide architecture, design, implementation services around routers, switches, wireless, security solutions, or security as a service. So if you need security monitoring, if you need threat monitoring, detection, and response services, that would be included in this. And then of course, wide area network optimization services. So we have a wide variety, a broad portfolio of services and solutions that we can bring to bear. But going back to driving employee and customer engagement, if we focus on this one area of the portfolio, we're going to double click on that area and dive into a couple of options for you. And those options begin with Cisco WebEx Calling and Cisco WebEx Contact Center. So Cisco WebEx Calling is a complete enterprise-grade cloud calling and team collaboration solution and platform. And it's offered through a variety of flexible subscription models and pricing models. It provides comprehensive PBX and phone system features, and it's got enhanced experiences for mobile devices and mobile applications. Now, the solution includes tight integration with WebEx meetings and messaging. But if you look at the image, what the image is communicating is, it doesn't really matter if you're you've got a cloud-based setup or a distributed network, distributed employee or agent population. We can provide enterprise-grade quality of service as well as security, leading integrated devices. It's an open and intelligent platform that understands the various devices that you're using to communicate. So whether it's calling, scheduling meetings, you're driving collaboration and team building and planning, or you need a contact center, or you need a help desk, or you have a team internally that you've established or designated as a support team for specific products or services that you're offering, Cisco WebEx Calling is a fantastic solution that a lot of organizations are moving to. And then you have Cisco WebEx Contact Center. So Contact Center is designed and built as a software as a service platform. It's a cloud-based solution, and it's best of breed platform that Accenture and other big five consulting firms promote and recommend that you move to address the next normal. So it's a best of breed platform that brings business innovation, flexibility, scalability, and agility of the cloud into your business, but it's fully secure. So this is a digital first customer experience, meaning you can define your customer's experience and your customer journey as they reach out to your company and as they begin to engage with people within your organization. So it empowers you or us as your MSP, if we set this up for you, to create an end-to-end customized customer experience based upon the needs and expectations of the customer and your business goals and objectives. So this is a next generation, fully customizable platform. And I'm actually going to have Chris weigh in on this because Chris has done a lot of work on this platform. He's got a lot of experience with it. And also, we leverage this platform inside of Exceptional. So again, just Cisco WebEx Contact Center, if you think about this as this software as a service, it's omni-channel, right? So it's multiple layers and channels of communication. So it's not just one communication vehicle or one communication method, it's multiple communication methods, all centrally managed and customized. You can do skills-based routing. So if there are people within your organization that have specific expertise or knowledge based upon a situation or a product or service, you can route calls to them instead of creating a negative customer experience where people have to be escalated along a path. Outbound campaigns, expert collaboration, there's various CRM integration, reporting tools, and there's all kinds of workforce optimization in terms of workflow, et cetera, that can be created within the platform. Again, because it's a software as a service platform, it's in terms of updates and maintenance, that's all handled in the cloud. So it reduces your overall cost in terms of maintenance and updates and support. But WebEx Contact Center gives you the control over every incoming and outgoing interaction from a central point. Regardless of the organization, technology, or location, it knows which agents, team members, or partners are available to provide the best answers or the best issue resolution experience to the customer or your employees. So the collaboration tools enable employees to engage peers inside and outside of the organization to maximize or improve your customer's experience. So I'm going to pause there, and I'm going to ask Chris to give us some insights and some lessons learned from his experience with this platform internally, and then some of the experiences that he has seen customers go through as they went through this journey. So Chris, what benefits has Exceptional realized from deploying these solutions? And then how are your clients benefiting from WebEx Calling and Contact Center?
Well, first, I think there need to be a little bit of context, right? So I cut my teeth in this industry in the voice over technology. So in the 90s, I was deploying voice over ATM, voice over IP, voice over frame relay solutions. And those were mostly connected to, traditional PBXs at the customer sites and You're just trying to create PBX networks. And so my pedigree from in this area goes way, way back. And with lots of bias towards on-premise, big iron, right? Very expensive, very complicated infrastructure. And it was about 5, 6 years ago now that I went through a epiphany and recognized that probably farther back, probably 7 years, but realized that the limitations that are put on those kinds of traditional deployments are too much, too many barriers to entry. A 5-person company couldn't get a contact center, couldn't get multi-channel, couldn't get automated bots and integrations with those kinds of infrastructure. It would be the financial barrier to entry would be too high. So there was an aha moment when I recognized that with a SaaS-based, cloud-based solution, the barriers to entry become very, very small. So we started initially selling WebEx calling or its predecessor Spark to small, medium-sized businesses. A lot of them before pandemic and stay-at-home orders, et cetera, thankfully, because it opened their communication windows up to be anywhere, anytime. Where before it was in the office, sitting in front of your voice terminal. That has evolved today to we have customers both large and small on a platform like this, and the complexity in the product gives you the elegance, and the technology in the product gives you the ability to deploy it for customers both large and small. And the benefits obviously are that they echo all the benefits that we've been talking about, where you need additional customer engagement, but also the tight integration. I think Mark touched on this, between the WebEx messaging and meetings platform and the calling platform are very, very tight. So in one client application, you can get a persistent group chat similar to Slack, if you're familiar, where every chat message you put in there, every chat space you create is there forever in the cloud with no limitation on its age, unless you choose to age them out. But the idea that creates an economy of scale and egalitarian environment for the small and the large enterprise, it creates a lot of opportunities for greater customer and greater employee engagement. We deployed, we were a traditional Cisco, traditional voice over IP. I don't know how traditional voice over IP is, but we were a on-premise for years and years and years, Cisco, what they call Cisco Advanced Unified Collaboration Architecture Partner, which means we sold a lot of call managers, contacts, Unity voicemail systems, all based in VMware, all based in virtual machines running on-prem. And we abandoned that in 2019 for a cloud-based solution. Well, that really saved us. When the stay-at-home orders came, there was almost no interruption to our business flow. Customers were able to reach our employees were able to reach our customers, we were able to reach each other. We kept a very good level of engagement with our customers and employees because the tool set was ready to use, right? And it was ready for that application and that application of the technology. The over time that has expanded, and we have continued to develop our solutions, et cetera. And when we heard about this new product from Cisco called the WebEx Contact Center, it was version 1.0, and we started researching and getting involved in it. We became certified in it this year, and have started selling this product because it is an ideal replacement for those legacy on-premise contact center deployments that are, again, very high barriers to entry, take a very unique and expensive skill to operate. And now we can deploy these SaaS solutions in the cloud, and the capabilities are immense, but the complexity and the barriers of the administrators or programmers of the system are very low. It's all GUI based. It's all object oriented. You don't have to write any code. You don't have to be a programmer, and you can get full text to speech, speech recognition, multi-channel integration. So with one contact center deployment, you can get voice, of course, email, chat, Facebook, WhatsApp, SMS, et cetera, and Cisco's only adding integration partners. In fact, they recently acquired a company called IMI.io, I think, that enables more of those interactions, more of those integrations, all with the graphical-based user interface for programming the flows, programming the logic, and so again, I keep reiterating that lowering the barriers to entry. This used to be very expensive stuff, hundreds of thousands of dollars to get into. Now it's a per agent license subscription. So, incredibly important to open that up to customers of all sizes. In addition, I think that Cisco's done a really, really good job of having an open ecosystem and being able to add on modules for the more complicated or more complex deployments. Things like workforce automation, advanced call recording and analytics, customer journey analytics. So I saw a demo of a map of every single customer journey through the platform in demo once, and it was a very powerful representation of how you can turn those customer interactions into data that you can use to project, to forecast, to increase your customer and employee engagement in a meaningful way, to get things done quicker with fewer humans involved, to get people right to humans quicker if that's what they so choose. But I could talk endlessly about this technology, so I'll throw it back to you, Mark.
No. This is great perspective, because again, you covered a lot of ground there, Chris. But I think if we go back to the beginning part of this presentation and think about, right, what McKinsey is saying, the trends that we're seeing in the marketplace, right? Organizations needing to shift and change their communication, their methods, how they engage customers, how they engage employees, how they communicate, how quickly they can pivot their business model, right, to address these changes. So I think these are all critical lessons learned and critical perspective. And again, because of your phenomenal background in this space, just in summary, what are some of the key lessons learned for organizations as they begin to approach these types of initiatives? How should organizations be prepping or thinking about this as they begin the journey?
Opening their minds starts with, right? Because I think many of us, and myself included, early on in this transition had blinders on, right? We had our preconceived notions about what telephony and what customer interaction and what a contact center looks like, and those have to be thrown out, and we have to take a new, fresh look at what is possible. And to the extent customer engagement solutions, employee engagement solutions, most of them can be done in a platform like this. So opening your mind to new possibilities, new approaches to arrive at better outcomes is what we've learned, and it's taken time. It's taken an immense amount of education of our customers and our employees. But everybody's on board. It seems like these days, because of that transition due to the pandemic, the stay-at-home orders, the customers with solutions like these, cloud-based software as a service type customer engagement platforms had almost no issues transitioning, or had much fewer issues transitioning anyway. So
yeah, I would say, to reinforce that. And going back to that one slide where we were talking about, the technical debt and lack of understanding or visibility into a roadmap, too many competing priorities, and I think you summarized it well here. Don't let fear, uncertainty, and doubt stop you from innovating and moving your business forward. Right? Don't paint yourself into a corner. Don't let that happen. You can think outside of the box, right? Work with organizations like Exceptional to help you to define what that roadmap and that journey looks like, and leverage us as your Sherpa to guide you through that process.
How many, please?
So,
Sorry.
So Chris mentioned this early on, but not just from a communication and a collaboration perspective to drive greater employee and customer engagement, but also to reinforce zero trust security. And I know that zero trust security, like those words have been thrown around a lot over the last few years. But if you think about it, Cisco's portfolio, their products are listed on the left-hand side of the screen. What those products do is listed in the middle. Uh, Cisco's products and service enable organizations and help organizations to deploy basic cyber hygiene or advanced cyber hygiene practices. So think about this from a maturity model perspective. If you don't have a cybersecurity practice, if you don't have a lot of capability in that area, or if you don't have robust technologies, policies, procedures, and controls in place, but you'd like to start somewhere, leverage a customer or employee engagement call center, contact center deployment to think through how can we better secure and enable our systems and data and protect our employees and protect our data through some of this zero trust portfolio that Cisco has. So again, this is a really quick mapping of how their technologies perform and provide basic, intermediate, good, proactive, or advanced levels of security and controls across that basic to advanced cyber hygiene spectrum.
Can I
So I
make a
think,
comment on that,
again,
Mark, quick? I was just
yep,
going to say
please.
that you know, if you're in this market today, ask the folks you're working with to show you the approach the manufacturers have taken to bundling these kinds of products in with, say, other solutions that you're looking at. I know, for example, Cisco has a hybrid workforce suite from WebEx. So the idea is that the hybrid workforce needs all of these things, or many of these things: Duo, Umbrella, AMP, StealthWatch, and AnyConnect. But where you get the most bang for your buck, I think, is bundling those kinds of solutions in with a telephony solution, so that you're getting multiple SKUs under one SKU's bundle. So talk to your if you're in that market, talk to your account manager about, you know, what advantage can I take of bundles. You might already have an Umbrella deployment, a Duo deployment, and are considering Cisco WebEx. Well, you look at Cisco WebEx's hybrid workforce bundles, then they're going to have some of those things included, and you might be able to obfuscate some of those costs or avoid doubling up.
Right, and that's a great point, Chris. And organizations like Exceptional, if you do move it down that path and you go down that path and you find yourself interested in that, we could architect, design, implement, run, and even manage that entire suite. So you don't have to hire or train your existing personnel to do that, to run, maintain, and operate. We can do that as part of a managed service.
That's correct.
So why focus on this? And again, we've covered some of this ground, but productivity. Disengaged workers make 60% more errors than engaged workers. The talent shortage that we're all facing today, engaged workers are 87% less likely to leave your organization. Revenue. Studies show that companies that had engaged customers with these tools and methods and technologies during the pandemic were able to drive sales, not just survive, but grow and drive and thrive during the pandemic. And then insights. These technologies, as we've already talked about, provide you great insight in terms of buyer preferences, customer escalation, customer support. So there's research out there that's showing 91% of buyers miss shopping the old way, shopping in stores. So having a customer-centric approach and leveraging technology to capture the voice of the customer needs to be a top priority. And by the way, these are from Accenture. So look at this quote from Accenture. Exceptional customer engagement means changing how we understand and respond to customer behavior, needs, and attitudes. Forward-thinking engagement models will make digital experiences more human. And then lastly, Hey, COVID-19 has hit the fast forward button for all of us. Customers are demonstrating behaviors we didn't project to see until 2025, but now businesses are going to have to catch up. So leveraging or using digital platforms to create business continuity is no longer a nice to have. It is the new normal. So again, just in closing, most of the executives and clients we speak to on a week-to-week basis are seeking ways to improve employee engagement and productivity while they're looking for more creative, scalable, and cost-effective and efficient ways of servicing and supporting customers. The amount of time, energy, effort, and resources required to align these systems, to go on that journey, and to make sure that your applications and systems are in alignment with your current goals and objectives, that's a significant lift. The good news is you don't have to do it alone. So Exceptional's portfolio of superior and proactive managed services, as well as architecture design and implementation services, can help. So as a leading award-winning managed IT services, networking, and security solutions provider, we're committing to helping customers reduce their risk and align their IT systems and apps to their current needs of their business customers and employees. We want to thank you for participating today and listening to this webinar. Please visit our resources page. You can access our free ebooks and research and white papers on this topic. And if you would like a complimentary network or communications assessment or a confidential conversation, reach out, info@exceptional.com, or call us at 858-225-6230. Chris, as we wrap up today, any parting thoughts for the audience?
No, just thank everybody for their time today, and hope you have a great rest of your day and your week.
Thank you all so much. Have a great day.